Hey everybody, Nomalanga Mhlauli-Moses here. We are live at flynubianqueen.com. This is the Nomalanga Show. Thank you for joining us. We're just going to take a few minutes to try and share this out. If you're watching from your computer, please do also share. And please excuse my background noises. Okay. So the topic today is stop telling Black women that you're perfect just the way you are. And the reason why I was actually going to discuss this is I see it a lot. And there are two major points, guys. The first point is that why we're told, or why we tell each other this, right? And then the second thing is why it's not true. Just one second. Just want to see if I can share this video out. Please do come in, tell us who you are, where you are jumping in from, and please feel free to join in the discussion. Anthony McKinley says good morning. Jade Arundel says hi. Hi guys, thank you for joining us. I just want to share the video, so please just bear with me. It will take just 2 seconds. I want to be able to get my audience also from my personal page to participate in our conversation. So I'm just gonna go on my phone to Fly Nubian Queen and share out the video. So far I see Jade, good morning. Anthony, good morning. Cado, Valentino, good morning. Dean joined. Fada Mo, hello, good morning. Franklin Wilson, good morning. Victor, hi Victor. Good morning, thank you for joining us. Okay, so please do share the video and please do feel free to participate in the conversation as we're having it. Says good morning, Jade Arundel. It helps to turn off the audio. Okay, so just want to share it quickly to my timeline. Join us. And then gonna do just one more share. Just a quick poll, guys. Can you tell me, have you also, just like I'm saying, I've seen it, have you also seen it happen a lot where you hear women, specifically Black women, telling other Black women that they're perfect just the way they are? And do you agree that they are or not? So I guess there's two questions. Have you seen it, yes or no? And do you agree? No. Just one more share, guys. Options. Okay, all right. So guys, I made a couple of points. I'll get through my points, and I will be trying to also check in with the comments to make sure that I'm being responsive to what you all are saying. Victor, I already saw you. Hi, thank you for joining us. I'm not able to. Okay, Nedra, good morning from Mobile, Alabama. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so the first point that I wanted to make is to kind of understand or show that it's not like I don't understand why we do this, okay? I remember some years ago, there was a scientist that came out of Britain that claimed that the ugliest women in the world are Black women, and then he went to quote unquote scientifically prove exactly why we are the ugliest women in the world. And there was a huge pushback. There was a lot of fire that went back towards him for saying that, because he was basically being racist, regardless of how he was trying to back it up and dress it up as science, or back it up with science, or back it up with science, or dress it up as science. Then the other thing is, if you, like me, have lived most of, actually all of your adult life in the United States, you'll become aware of the fact that Black women tend to be unprotected and therefore attacked a lot. So it's very important for us to support each other and reinforce to each other that we are beautiful, we are acceptable because people don't accept us, all of these things, right? And this doesn't just apply to Black women, it applies in general. It's very, very important for us to boost each other's self-esteem, boost each other's confidence, and so on. So I totally get that sometimes we do need to speak to each other in ways that are affirming. Having said that, I still think it's very, very important that we need to stop telling each other that we are perfect just the way we are. Because again, if you base my response on actual facts and our current condition, we're far, far, far from perfect. Okay, we have the highest rate of out of wedlock childbirths, the highest. I don't know how to call it, but if you go through your timeline, just your timeline here on Facebook, we are the ones that are going missing. We're the ones that are getting killed. We're the ones that are getting attacked. So our condition is not perfect, and nor are we. We are also, if you talk to enough Black men, whether it's in the United States or beyond, we are the women that men actually want to stay away from. A lot of men will be loyal to us because they're loyal to Blackness or loyal to Pan-Africanism or loyal to African women or what have you. But if you talk to enough men and they're being honest, they will tell you that no, actually, these are the women that we avoid. For several reasons that I often discuss. If you go to my Facebook page, you'll see that I often discuss that a lot. And I don't make it up. It's feedback. It's valuable feedback, okay? The other thing is we are also the fattest, the unhealthiest, the most chronically depressed, sick with high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, all kinds of ailments. So our condition is far, far from perfect. I am not saying that we should not love ourselves, and I'm not saying we don't deserve to be loved. But I will say one thing very clearly and concisely. You cannot change what you don't acknowledge. You cannot change what you don't acknowledge. So if we get busy telling each other that we're perfect, when in fact we're not, our incentive to actually get better is diminished or eliminated. Okay, so I want that to be clear why I'm saying this, why you must stop telling Black women that we're perfect just the way we are. We have a lot of work to do. Every human being has a lot to do, work to do, but I'm talking specifically about Black women. I'm talking about us. We have a lot of self-improvement to do. We have a lot of things to overcome. A lot of us have experienced hurt, trauma, and drama. And once you've experienced that, it may not have been your fault that you experienced it, but it's your responsibility to overcome it and become a better person after. And if somebody tells you that you're just perfect the way you are, and you're traumatized, bitter, negative, angry, exhausted, sick, fat, obese, whatever you want to call it, they're not doing you any favors. They don't love you. They don't love you enough to tell you what you need to change about yourself, or that you just need to get better and be better, okay? So you can never, ever change what you don't acknowledge. So if you don't acknowledge that we are in a bad condition, you're not incentivized to change or do better or be better, okay? I did ask a question, so I want to see if I can just get through, if I can get through some of the answers. People said yes, yes. So they were answering the question of, have they also seen this thing where we keep telling Black women they're perfect as they are? And then my second question was also, do you agree that we should stop telling each other that? And you can disagree and say, no, we should tell each other that, okay? Franklin says, I've heard that. Franklin says, true. Victor says, that's why I say regret is not a bad thing. Regret regret proves you to remember a mistake of yours, which means you're less likely to repeat it. Yeah, I often say there's nothing wrong with shame. Now, do I think you should always be ashamed and guilty all the time? No. But when your life takes the wrong course, shame is the thing that will set you back onto the right course. And being shamed by people around you is another thing that will set you straight. So those are not negative traits. They're not, I'm sorry, those are not negative emotions. They're actually things within us. It's a compass inside of us that tells us that something's wrong and you need to regroup, you need to refocus, you need to take another direction. Kimberly says, but all Black women aren't the same. If men are too simple-minded to look beyond stereotype, then that is their issue. Kimberly, darling, we're talking about Black women. I'm a Black woman talking to other Black women. I have not brought up the subject of men today because that's not what we're discussing. And also, yes, we're not all the same, but we all are the same in that we have things about ourselves that we can improve. And we're not incentivized to improve when we're told that we're just perfect the way we are. Okay. Now, I believe that with things like y'all can see, if you've been paying attention to me for years now, my hair is always natural. And even when I do braiding and other hairstyles, I try to keep it natural. You'll notice my makeup is usually very light. So the message behind that, guys, is yes, an African woman, a Black woman is beautiful just the way she is. Now, I agree with that message in that way. Okay, you don't need a weave, you don't need to be caked in makeup, you don't need fake eyelashes and fake nails and fake things to be appreciated or to matter. That's where I can agree that no, we're perfect just the way we are. But it's a different scenario when we're talking about the way that we think, the way that we talk, and the way that we behave. That we have a responsibility for. How you look is how you look. Okay, in terms of being African, being Black, being chocolate, caramel, whatever you are, there's not much you can do about that. And yes, if that's how you are, you're perfect just the way you are. But we're not talking about looks. We're talking about our state. We're talking about our character. We're talking about our lives. We're talking about the general state of us. And that can be changed. And it cannot be changed if we're busy telling each other it's perfect when it's not perfect. And like I said, guys, if you do enough polls to find feedback from our men, our very own men, things like feminism are influencing us in such a way that we become unpleasant to be in relationships with, to be in marriages with, to have children with, to do business with, to hire, to be in workplaces with. Okay, and again, there's always a reason that we are the way that we are. But again, if it's not creating positive relationships, a positive and peaceful environment, then there needs to be a change. But how can that change take place if we're busy telling each other there's no need to change because we're just perfect the way we are? Don't you dare criticize me. Don't you say anything about me. And if you don't believe me, guys, please go to my personal page, Nomalanga Mhlauli-Moses, right here on Facebook. Scroll through. Anytime I have addressed our shortcomings as Black women or as African women, inevitably, number one, the post has a lot of people, a lot of men, our men, who will be agreeing with the post. And then inevitably, there will be some Black women who do not want to be told anything. They don't want to be critiqued, criticized, told anything. And mind you, I don't believe in criticizing just for the sake of criticizing. I believe critiquing, okay? Giving feedback that may not feel good to hear, but will help you if you take it, use it, and make the necessary changes. So that was the first point is, or the first and the second point is why we're told that we're perfect. And I was saying, guys, it's because Black women are often attacked from many different avenues. So it's very important for us to affirm us, to boost our self-confidence, to assure each other, encourage each other. I totally get that, okay? So if you're just joining us, the topic is why we should stop telling Black women they're perfect just the way they are, or that we're perfect just the way we are, okay? This is the Nomalanga Show. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't already, guys, please subscribe at flynubianqueens.com. You can also text the word Queens to 31996. 31996, text the word Queens, and you can get text alerts when the queens, not just me, when all the queens at Fly Nubian Queen are live on the channel. Isn't that wonderful? If you haven't already, please visit themochamoguls.com. That is one of my platforms that I would like you to take a look at. And also, which is most important to me that you go to, is please support our charity, passforourgirls.com. We have a charity in Botswana that supports young girls who are trying to go to school, but sometimes don't, because they're on their period and they don't have the sanitary pads that they need. Okay, it's a very simple need. They need sanitary pads. Our charity takes donations in money and in pads, and we supply those pads to these young girls. It's a very, very good initiative. So please go there to padsforourgirls.com and support us. Okay, so I'm going to ask one more question. Okay, guys, based on what I'm saying, how many of you are men? This question is just for the men. How many of you have noticed that some of us, and sisters, this may not be easy for us to hear, okay? How many of you have noticed that we are not open to feedback about how we can improve ourselves, okay? I'm going to scroll through and see if the men are answering. See, there's a young woman here, maybe not young, I don't know how old she is, called Pamela, and she's saying, I tend to differ. God made me perfect. Look, that's not what we're talking about. God made all of us perfect, okay? Even the people who are in jail cells because they raped and molested little girls or because they killed people, God made them perfect too. But the fact of the matter is they're not perfect just the way they are. They're in there to be rehabilitated because they're not perfect just the way we are. And I'm just being realistic and saying we're all not just perfect the way we are. Our condition in general, collectively as Black women, if like me, again, you've lived your whole adult life in the United States, you know our condition. You know our condition. And you cannot say we're just perfect the way we are or that things are perfect. It's just not true. Somebody says Kimberly's mindset says it all. Pamela says, I will never stop uplifting my sisters and brothers. Do you know that sometimes when you tell somebody an honest truth and they make a positive change, that is also uplifting? Uplifting doesn't just mean that we smack on a label of you're perfect and then we move on, because it just sometimes isn't true. Okay. I think it's very important, guys, for you, if you just joined us halfway through the conversation, to listen to the beginning so that we understand that, yes, you know, with my kinky, curly hair, I'm perfect, okay? With my brown skin, I'm perfect. Everything, my big forehead, my big lips, perfect, okay? Perfectly, wonderfully made. I'm not talking, guys, about our physical appearance, which, again, has been attacked a lot, okay? In America, you'll often find that bad things are associated with Blackness. And then they call us Black, okay? They'll say the movie's too dark, meaning that it's negative somehow. I remember one of my friends once even said, even when a person has a pimple, they call it a blackhead. But of course there are blackheads, but you get the point that we associate negative things with Blackness. So yes, it is important for us to uplift each other, encourage each other, and boost each other's self-esteem and confidence. But I'm talking about going beyond that and just saying to each other that we're perfect, even when we're behaving badly, even when our condition is bad, when our lives are going wrong. And you just keep saying to people, you're perfect just the way you are. When every relationship that you've had for the last few years ends after a few months and you can't figure out why. And there's a whole gang of guys behind that left you or that you had to leave or whatever. And you're sitting with your girlfriends and they're like, girl, you just perfect the way you are. No, you're not. Because if you were, the person you wanted to be with would have stayed. The things that you want to do would work. So no, you're not just perfect the way you are. There's some things that you need to look at to be better, to be your best self. And if you make those adjustments, you will be better, but you still won't be perfect. Because until the day you die, you're learning, growing, hopefully, and changing, hopefully, for the better. Victor says a very good point. He says there's nothing beautiful about being broken. Being broken, again, and I said it earlier in the video for those of you that are just joining us, it sometimes isn't your fault that you had trauma and drama and struggle and strife. It's really not your fault sometimes, but it is your responsibility. It's your responsibility to overcome and become better, or fix it, fix yourself. That's your responsibility. You have to do that, and nobody will do it for you. Laura says, why is truth so hard to accept? Look, guys, I mean, I always say you can't just have random people come into your life and speak into your life and criticize you. I think that you need people who care about you, who love you, who speak into your life, both positively and with an eye for where you can make changes. Okay. So Laura, it is true. It is hard to hear the truth, right? But it goes over better when you know that the person actually loves you and cares about you, you know. And collectively, I actually care about Black women, about African women, or women of African descent. I care about them. But even in spite of that, sometimes the things that I say, or that other women who care about Black women, some of the things that we say sometimes are not well received. Because again, sometimes people are hearing only negativity and get as a result of how can I get better as this information, or how can I get better as a result of this feedback? So guys, please jump into the comments and let me know if you can still hear me. It's saying that my wireless connection is poor, so I'm not sure if you can still hear me and see me. Let me just check on my phone and see if we're still live. Okay, great. It looks like we're still live, so I'll continue with the conversation. The last thing that I wanted to address, guys, was fatness and obesity. And I was sitting here thinking earlier today that a lot of times you hear women who are overweight, for whatever reason, I won't get into those reasons, calling themselves, sometimes I hear curvy, full-figured, and thick. And really, the woman is just fat, overweight, obese, which is not a good thing, right? And again, guess what her girlfriends are telling her? You're perfect just the way you are. No, you're not perfect. You're probably sick right now. And if you're not sick right now, you're going to be sick eventually. And also, you must have a self-discipline problem. And please, stay out of my inbox, stay out of the comments with I might have a medical whatever condition that makes me fat. No, some people do, but that is the exception, not the rule. For the most part, we can all do better. If we're fat, we can do better. Okay, we can. If you can master getting up in the morning, going to work, doing the work, getting back into traffic, coming home, you can do the simple thing of kind of figuring out, okay, during the course of my day, what am I eating? Am I working out? Am I eating the right quantities? Am I eating the right things? How is it affecting my body? Those are very straightforward and basic things, okay? And you can figure them out. Is there an emotional component sometimes to being overweight? Absolutely there is. But again, if you really want to do better and live your quote unquote best life, you'll make time to take a look at what it is and sort through it. But again, I go back to my original point. You're never going to get better or do better while you're telling yourself you're perfect just the way you are. And mind you, God didn't make you fat, okay? And I could say this, guys, because sometimes I really gain a lot of weight. And then I have to check myself. I have to tell myself, like, nope, you're not living your best life. You're not doing your best work. You're not looking your best. You're not feeling your best. And you're certainly not doing your health any favors. And then I make the adjustment. and I shed that weight. Okay, I'm not saying everybody's me and everybody has the time or the resources or the ability or whatever it is, but the point that I'm making is, again, going to my original point, you have to be able to say to yourself, no, I'm not just perfect the way that I am. And we have to stop telling each other that. Okay. I think I didn't go back to look at the questions. Natasha says, being society's punching bag has made some of us sensitive to criticism. As long as something is said with love, it can and should be received. We can't continue to pacify each other to our demise. Sisters, we have to work to do and be better. And I totally agree with you. And that was the first point, Natasha, that I made when I came on the live. The first thing I said is let's first talk about why we're telling each other that you're perfect the way you are. And it is because we're attacked a lot, more than anybody else. The way we look, the way we are, the way we talk, the way everything about us is attacked, okay? And it's not just Black women, it's Black men and women, okay? So yeah, that can make us sensitive to being told anything, even when we need to hear it. But be that as it may, we still need to stop telling each other that we're just perfect, rather than solving our problems and actually trying to get to perfection, which I don't believe we can actually get to. But you can certainly try. Franklin Wilson says, start of an inbox. No lies, guys. People do come for me in my inbox and just say the most hateful things sometimes. Thankfully, though, most people who come to my inbox come in peace and they come to, ask a question and be positive. But sometimes, especially when you talk about something about us getting better, it does sometimes trigger people. I know a lot of times overweight women are very triggered when you talk about obesity for some reason, and they do come in my inbox. So I was just kind of preemptively saying, please don't. Low self-esteem is a common issue, says Franklin. Yes, sir, it is. Paul says, as of today, I've not met any perfect people. So it sounds like the people that are declaring this perfection over people just have a really low IQ in general. Like I said, I think it's well-meaning. We're trying to affirm each other. We're trying to make each other feel better. We're trying to push back. As I can't remember the name of the person who said, being the punching bag. So we're trying to, kind of push back with that. Sonia says, truth hurts, but we need to do better, especially with our diet and health. Tiani says, Black love doesn't only have to be tough love. Okay, good for you. If you want to do the soft love, you do the soft love. Today we're doing tough love, okay? I think the name is Tiani. Is that her name? Okay, guys. So this wasn't meant to be a long, drawn-out video. Actually, if you go to my page, my personal page, Nomalanga Mhlauli-Moses, on Facebook, I had posted earlier something. I can't remember what website it came from, and it says something to the effect of, you're perfect the way you are. And then somebody had made a meme and says, but are we really? And the funny thing is, it had been on my heart to talk about this, that we should stop telling each other that we're perfect, and be more honest with each other and still be supportive of each other in our building each other and growing together. Well, like I said, this wasn't meant to be a long video. Thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate you. If you haven't already, please subscribe at flynewbeanqueens.com. You can also text Queens to 31996. Text Queens to 31996 and you get text alerts when we're live on the channel. Please support our charity, padsforourgirls.com. The charity started in Botswana, which is my country of birth. Padsforourgirls.com, we supply sanitary pads to young girls in school in Botswana so they do not have to miss school because of their periods and because they're underprivileged and cannot afford basic supplies. So please help us with that, padsforourgirls.com. Any amount is welcome. And if you're in Botswana, if you're actually in Botswana, you can go to padsforourgirls.com and there's information about how you can volunteer. There's a number to call if you want to actually donate, if you want to donate actual pads rather than money. And last but not least, please visit themochamoguls.com. We're working on a new platform in themochamoguls.com that's going to talk about financial literacy for Black women. So I'm really excited about that. My brand M3, Marriage, Motherhood, and Money Making, is going to be focused heavily on money making. So please go to mochamoguls.com. It's free to sign up. You can also see past shows of the Nomalanga Show there. Again, it's the mochamoguls.com. Thank you guys for joining me. Have a good day.